That's one of the things I hate about like a lot of other film tubers is that they're trying to like stay so positive. Meanwhile, like film itself is burning to the ground and becoming super irrelevant. They're like the fucking dog in that meme, like everything's fine. Don't act like everything's fine. Every film tuber here, like every film tuber on this website, we're on a fucking sinking ship. You know, cinema is dying, and you're all just sitting around going, "It's fine, it's fine." No, no. So maybe I'm just gonna remain cynical and jaded. Maybe that's my arc. I'm gonna have a lack of arc, and I'm still passionate. I still care about these movies an awful lot. I like television a lot more lately. That's it. I just think that television is better, or was better. Like even the television shows I like are from 20 fucking years ago. You need someone to come out and seriously analyze TikToks or like modern streaming, because streaming is its own medium, right? And almost its own art at this point. There are a lot of interesting things to still talk about. I don't think that art now is worse than it was 10 years ago. I just think it's different than it was 10 years ago, right? Art's not any better or worse now than it was 10 years ago. It's just different, but we have to recognize that it's different. And also, film being dead, that might not be a bad thing. Honestly, it might not be a bad thing. I think it's run its course. Television too might not be bad. Like, might be cool. This is the type of film criticism we need. Meanwhile, I highlight that as I'm saying, maybe it's a good thing film's dead, everybody. Maybe it's fine. Maybe we should root for that. At this point, I'm almost rooting for it because it's almost pathetic at this time. I think that most cinephile culture is pathetic, and I think that like the desperation of Hollywood is getting so pathetic. The desperation of even independent filmmakers is sad to me because it's like maybe work within a different visual medium. We live in a world of countless visual mediums. Film, don't let your nostalgia like keep you beholden to a dead art. So many interesting visual stylists are making films when I think they would connect with more people choosing a different medium. But I'm not an artist, so like I'm not going to give you that kind of advice. I'm just a critic. All right, and critics are important too. And media critics gotta kind of change what we do a little bit. Film criticism, I'm gonna give films eulogy. Hopefully, I honestly not sure if we need film anymore. But I think that we need to have the discussion. Like other film tubers need to start having the discussion that 5 years from now, every film critic will be a historian. They won't be talking about things that shape culture anymore. We'll be talking about things that shaped culture in the past, which I'm fine with. I love doing that. But we have to admit to ourselves, we have to have a hard conversation about how film is going. And we need to talk about it. It needs to be a real shift. We need to talk about it. We need to have an open dialogue and a serious conversation about what it means. And like whether or not it's worth saving. I think that'd be a wonderful debate. Like, is film worth saving? I don't think so. I don't think so. And then you'll get those people who say that everything that's filmed is film, which is fucking bullshit. Don't let them tell you that. Don't ever let them tell you that. That's one of the most desperate arguments of the cinephile, and it's pathetic. Everything that takes place on a stage is the same art because it's theater. Fuck you. No, it's not. Put a ballerina next to a stand-up comedian, I will just laugh my ass off at you. No, these are different. Everything that's filmed is film. That's like saying that everything that's recorded is a fucking song. You're out of your goddamn mind. Right? Like, isn't that the worst argument? Everything that's filmed is a film. So film's not dying. TikToks are film. That's not fucking true. Everything that's recorded audio is not a fucking song. Also, that would make video games films if everything that is like a motion picture is a fuck off with that argument. Don't let them use that argument. We need to have a real conversation. If it's worth saving, then we have to be relevant again, and we have to do something real. You might think I'm talking about narrative cinema. Maybe I am. Maybe I am talking about narrative films. You know, I don't think that a movie theater is the best place to release a documentary or possibly even an avant-garde film. Who knows? Maybe there's better places to post that and get your message across, get your feelings expressed. Narrative cinema, if I have to be like super semantical with it, because so many cinephiles are desperate to hold on to film as this thing that monopolizes all other things that are visual and in motion, narrative cinema, narrative film is dead. Institutions definitely need to be torn down, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be an industry around film. There definitely should. You know, I love old Hollywood. Hell, I love Hollywood movies in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Like, I'm not an anti-Hollywood person, but the institutions need to be completely changed. Like, a real shift has to happen. And they don't need to be completely like rechanged because I'm anti-capitalist or anything. They need to be changed because they've failed the medium, because they've failed the art form. I think film, in order to stay alive, is going to have to change itself almost entirely, to a point where film's most devoted acolytes, like cinephiles like myself, like, we shouldn't be able to recognize it. Like, it has to change that much that that its most loyal adherents don't recognize it anymore. But that's what needs to happen. And like, it's gonna be those conversations need to be had, because otherwise we're just kind of, I don't know, fooling ourselves with talking about whether or not Wolverine versus Deadpool is good. Like, what's the point of doing that? What's the point of doing that when the collapse is imminent of the art form itself? Like, there's no point until people really start talking about it. I mean, they're doing it in increments. Like, they're talking about how movie theaters are dying, but they're ignoring the massive elephant in the room that is, if there were exciting, entertaining films, insightful films, moving ones, relevant ones, there would be people within that theater. They're ignoring that. And I don't know why. Well, and I know why, because it's too difficult to comprehend. People still go to theaters, but who wants to watch Cocaine Bear in theaters? Yes, and what, like, even halfway thinking adult wants to watch the same fucking Marvel movie? Basically, every Marvel movie is the same fucking movie. Who wants to watch the same goddamn movie for the 25th time in a row? I wouldn't. I don't. You know, and normal people don't either. They don't want to see the same shit they've always seen. I mean, you can redress it, you can repurpose it, and like, do that. Do that. Change the fucking archetype. It'll take people a second to realize they've already seen it, but at least show that you understand. But no one's showing that. It's absolutely absurd. Let me be the most negative I could possibly be about the art form that we all love, and I do fucking love it. Would it be terrible if narrative film became this underground thing, right? Of like the truly passionate people, and you'd have to go to local independent theaters, or even your friend's house, and like watch it projected on their, like, wall or something, and everything was super independent. Would that really be the worst thing that happened to film? I mean, it wouldn't be very relevant, but it would still be alive for those who truly believed in it. That really wouldn't be the worst thing. Death wouldn't be the worst thing. If it died within the public sphere, that could be fine. That could be fine. You know, death isn't the worst thing that can happen. Hollywood can't keep marketing the perpetual children. No, and it's almost like it's a problem they've created. I think ML said something that was interesting on the last stream. She was like, I think that films have become a certain kind of pacifier, like they're infantilizing the public. So Hollywood is actually dealing with the perpetual children that they created. Like, they created this monster. Right? Because if you make anything that's even half intelligent now, people will hate it. People won't go see it. People will call it pretentious just for being like 2 IQ points higher than Guardians of the Galaxy fucking 2. Like, they will call you pretentious for it. So like, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place that they invented. The only movies that make money will literally bankrupt the entire studio and destroy the concept of movie making as a whole. I will say audiences have to get better too. I think audiences are getting better. I think they're getting fed up. But my problem is, I think they needed to get fed up like fucking 5 years ago. It's when they needed to get tired of it. Maybe 5-10 years ago even. Audiences need to be a lot more, I don't know, proactive, jaded and cynical, honestly. Nostalgia makes you feel like the age you were. If you make everything nostalgic, it makes their minds work on a less mature level. True, and I'm not even against nostalgia entirely, but you have to do something with that nostalgia. If you're going to investigate nostalgia, bring me to nostalgia and then show me how to reconfigure it, how to reinvent it, how to reintroduce my nostalgic sensitivities into my my modern cynical my current cynical sensibilities. Like you gotta do something pretty intelligent with nostalgia if you're going to spend so much time there. And now, like, what, 15 years of Marvel, people are nostalgic for 15 years ago, for the early days of Marvel. So it's wild. um like, I feel bad for kids, like, I guess Gen Alpha, right? Like, imagine growing up and this is what you think film is. You would not think anything serious of it. If you grew up thinking that, if you grew up born in like 2005 or 2008 or something, and this is like what you think movies are, it's ridiculous. Film has let down the Gen Alpha generation entirely. Independent film would be more personal, and films should be more personal. Let's talk about how a film changed you as a person, how it personally affected you. That's transcending. Exactly, exactly. And that's why I'm also not anti-Hollywood completely, right? Because there are Hollywood films, definitely studio projects and products that changed me as a person. Because Hollywood used to be able to produce that. They did. They're not all evil. Some of their films used to change you. Titanic is basically a perfect fucking movie for me, in my opinion. I made a video about it. Go watch it if you're interested. Like, I like a lot of Hollywood movies. They used to have power, right? And they used to feel a little bit more personal, and like the authenticity of that. Like, personal intimacy is like debatable, but it was there. Films should be more personal. Independent film would be like that. It's just I think that's what film's going to become, but it will be dead at that point, which is fine. Which is fine. Uh, it'll be held on to by like the true believers. Will cinephiles will seem goofy and cultish in the future, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm literally called your cult boyfriend. I think I'm fine with that. My cutoff point for movies is around 2012, 2015. It's just hard for me. Like, I don't know if I've been excited for a movie within the last couple years at all. Like, I haven't been to the movie theater since, I don't remember. Sometime last year, I was on a date and we went to the Little Mermaid remake, which, yeah, did not fill me with an intense love and appreciation for cinema, but it was a fun date movie, a fun way to spend a couple hours of the evening. That was the last time I was at a movie theater. I think that was the only time I was at the movie theater that whole year. And the year before, I think I saw The Fablemans, and that was it. I've seen like one movie a year for the last almost 10 years in a movie theater. That's insane. That's insane. That's not even my fucking fault. Make something that resonates with me. Maybe next time we'll figure out how to save film. Well, we have to determine if it's worth saving and then how to save it. Maybe that's what we'll do next time. It's just, even people who I love, modern films just ain't, it's not grabbing me and pulling me in. Because some of the fun stuff about covering from the 90s and 2000s is that it had a demonstrable, a demonstrative effect on culture. And it's less fun engaging with movies now because it's not talking or interacting with culture like that, you know? And maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's part of why I'm less interested, because everyone's less interested. If more people were visibly interested, maybe I'd be more interested, but then that logic falls apart because I'm uninterested in things that people are obviously interested in. But then again, I don't think that Star Wars or Marvel actually affect the way people engage with the world around them. I think that they're so thoughtless that it actually doesn't affect culture at all because culture doesn't take anything from it. So I'm still right logically. It's just convoluted, and I'll need to figure out a better argument for that. I might just be getting old and bitter too. So, yes, Emma Roberts for life, though. Emma Roberts is a fucking she's a role model. She's a goddess. She's a great actress. She's an artist. She's a book reader. What more do you need? If you only recognize one true Emma, and it's Emma Roberts.